After her performance ends in thunderous applause, a cellist accepts a ride home and wakes up in a stranger's villa with a cello, locked doors, and one impossible demand. The cello sang its final note, and the world held its breath. Naomi Carter's bow trembled against the strings as silence flooded the Palazzo di Verano's grand hall. 200 pairs of eyes watched her, Roman nobility, international dignitaries, and shadowed figures whose wealth came from places polite society didn't discuss. The chandelier light caught the deep brown of her skin, making her glow like amber against the darkness of her evening gown. She lowered the bow. Applause erupted, violent in its enthusiasm. But Naomi felt nothing. She'd felt nothing for months now, playing in gilded cages for people who collected experiences like stamps. London, Paris, Dubai, now Rome. Each performance blurred into the next, each standing ovation as hollow as the last. She forced a smile, took her bow, and escaped backstage before anyone could trap her in conversation about passion and genius. Words that felt like lies in her mouth. Magnificent, cara mia. Maestro Havel caught her arm, his weathered face bright with pride. The Moretti Foundation will surely invite you back. Did you see him watching? Lucian Moretti himself came down from Milan. Naomi's fingers found the tension in her neck, kneading it. I'm exhausted, Maestro. I just want to go back to the hotel. Of course, of course. He patted her hand. Mr. Moretti's driver will take you. It's already arranged, much safer than a taxi at this hour. She should have questioned it, should have insisted on calling her own car, but exhaustion made her careless, and 10 minutes later, she was sliding into the back of a black Mercedes, her cello case secured in the trunk. The driver didn't speak, didn't look at her in the rearview mirror. Rome's ancient streets gave way to modern highways, then to winding mountain roads shrouded in fog. Naomi checked her phone. No signal. The hotel had been in the city center. They'd been driving for over an hour. "Excuse me," she said, leaning forward. "Where are we going? This isn't the way to the Hotel Raphael." Silence. I said, "Where are—" "Sit back, Miss Carter." His voice was cold, final. Naomi's heart kicked against her ribs. She tried the door handle, locked. Child safety locks, probably, the kind that couldn't be opened from inside. "Let me out." Her voice climbed. "Let me out right now or I'll—" The partition between front and back seats slid up with a quiet hum, cutting her off. Naomi grabbed her phone, but there was still no signal, and they were climbing higher into the mountains, farther from civilization. Panic tasted like copper on her tongue. She tried to stay calm, tried to think. The maestro had arranged this car. Had he known? Was he part of whatever this was? Her mind spun through possibilities. Ransom, trafficking, murder, each worse than the last. The car finally stopped. Naomi's hands shook as she heard the driver's door open and close. Footsteps on gravel. Then her door opened and a man in a dark suit stood there, utterly expressionless. "Miss Carter, please come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you." But even as she said it, she saw 2 more men emerging from the shadows. The villa behind them rose like a monument, all white stone and wrought iron, windows glowing gold against the night. The man held out a black silk blindfold. "This isn't a negotiation." 20 minutes later, Naomi stood in a room that looked like it belonged in a museum. Marble floors, Renaissance paintings on the walls, furniture that probably cost more than her childhood home. Her cello case leaned against a window seat. Somehow, they'd already brought it up from the car. The blindfold had been removed, but the implications remained. "Miss Carter." The voice came from behind her, and Naomi spun around. The man who entered looked like he'd been carved from ice and dressed in Italian tailoring. Tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair swept back from a face too beautiful to be entirely human. His eyes were gray, the color of winter fog, and they fixed on her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "My name is Lucian Moretti. Welcome to my home." "Welcome?" Naomi's voice cracked. "You kidnapped me." "I invited you." He moved to a sideboard, poured amber liquid into 2 crystal glasses. "You accepted transport. That you didn't know the destination is merely a detail." "That's insane. You can't just—" Words failed her. She pressed her palms against her thighs, trying to stop them from shaking. "What do you want from me?" Lucian handed her one of the glasses. When she didn't take it, he set it on the table beside her. "I want you to play." "Play?" "The cello, Miss Carter. Your instrument." He moved to the window, hands clasped behind his back. "Tonight at the Palazzo, I watched you perform Shostakovich's cello concerto. Technically flawless. Emotionally," he turned to face her, "empty." The criticism stung more than it should have. "So you kidnapped me to tell me my playing isn't good enough for you?" "I kidnapped you because it could be." His eyes held hers. "My late wife, Isabella, was a composer. She wrote one final piece before she died, a sonata she never finished performing. I've brought 12 cellists here over the past 3 years. None of them understood it. None of them could make it breathe." Naomi's mouth went dry. 12? What happened to them? "I sent them home, disappointed, but unharmed." He picked up a portfolio from the desk, held it out. "This is Isabella's sonata. I want you to play it perfectly, as if she were still here speaking through your hands. And if I refuse, then you'll stay here until you change your mind." His voice was silk over steel. "I'm a patient man, Miss Carter, and I've waited 3 years. Already. What's a few more months?" Want to see if Naomi fights back or gives in? Keep reading. The real game is just beginning. She didn't sleep that night. Her room was beautiful. A 4-poster bed, antique furniture, even fresh flowers on the nightstand. But the door locked from the outside. She'd heard the click after Lucian left, had tried the handle just to confirm what she already knew. She was a prisoner in a palace. Morning came with breakfast delivered by a silent maid and a note in elegant script. "The music room, 10 a.m., don't be late." Naomi wanted to refuse, wanted to stay in her room and force them to drag her out. But curiosity gnawed at her, and maybe, God help her, a small part of her wanted to see the sonata that had driven a man to kidnapping. The music room stole her breath. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the mountains, letting in streams of golden light. The acoustics would be perfect. She could tell just from the way her footsteps echoed. A Stradivarius cello waited on its stand, and beside it, her own familiar instrument from the Palazzo. Lucian stood near the windows, already watching her. "You brought my cello," she said. "I brought everything you'd need to be comfortable. Clothes in your size, toiletries, books, music. Check the wardrobe, check the bathroom. Nothing is missing. Except my freedom." "Freedom is overrated." He gestured to the cello. "Play something, anything you like." "No." His jaw tightened. "Miss Carter." "My name is Naomi." She crossed her arms. "And I'm not performing for my kidnapper. You want me to play? Let me go." "That's not how this works." "Then we have nothing to discuss." They stared at each other across the sun-drenched room. Naomi's heart hammered, but she kept her chin up, refusing to be the first to look away. She half expected him to threaten her, to show the violence she knew must lurk beneath his polished exterior. Instead, he smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "You have spirit. Good. Isabella would have liked you." He walked to the door, paused. "You'll be playing within a week. They always do." "What makes you so sure?" "Because you're an artist, Naomi, and artists need to create the way other people need to breathe. You can fight me all you want, but eventually you'll pick up that cello. Not for me, for yourself." The door closed behind him with a quiet click. Naomi lasted 3 days. 3 days of pacing her gilded cage, of meals delivered in silence, of watching the sun rise and set over mountains she couldn't reach. 3 days of feeling her fingers itch, Her arms ache with the absence of her instrument. Music filled her head, fragments of concertos, snatches of sonatas, the phantom pressure of strings against her fingertips. Lucian had been right. Damn him, he'd been right. On the fourth morning, she went to the music room. Her cello waited, patient as always. Naomi lifted it, settled it between her knees, felt the familiar weight of it against her body. She didn't play Isabella's sonata, wouldn't give him that satisfaction yet. Instead, she played Bach, the prelude from Suite No. 1, a piece she'd learned as a child. Simple, pure, hers. The door opened 15 minutes into her practice. Lucian entered without knocking, carrying Isabella's portfolio. "No," Naomi said, bow still poised. "I'm not ready for that." "When will you be ready?" "Maybe never." He set the portfolio on the music stand anyway, flipped it open. The manuscript was beautiful, handwritten in elegant notation, small annotations in Italian scattered throughout. At the top, in flowing script, Il canto dell'addio, the song of goodbye. "She wrote this in the hospital," Lucian said quietly. "The last 3 weeks of her life. She wanted to perform it herself, but the cancer." His voice fractured. "She died before the final movement." Despite everything, Naomi's throat tightened. "I'm sorry for your loss." "Are you?" He looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time she saw past the cold exterior to the grief beneath, raw, endless, consuming. "Sometimes I think sorry is just a thing people say, words without meaning." "Sometimes it is," Naomi admitted, "but sometimes it's all we have." Silence stretched between them, different from before, less hostile, more human. "Play it," Lucian said. "Just the first movement. I need to hear if you're the one." "The one what?" "The one who can bring her back." Naomi should have refused again, should have thrown the portfolio at him and demanded release. But her eyes had already found the notes, her mind already processing the patterns. It was complex, yes, but not impossible. And there was something in the melody, something aching and beautiful that called to the empty place inside her chest. Her bow found the strings. The first notes emerged tentative, feeling out the rhythm. But as she continued, something shifted. The music wasn't just technically complex, it was emotionally devastating. Each phrase felt like a goodbye, like watching someone you love slip away one breath at a time. Naomi's eyes stung. She blinked hard, refusing to let tears fall, but the music poured out of her anyway. All her own grief, all her own loneliness, channeling through Isabella's notes. When she finished, her hands trembled. Lucian stood frozen by the window, his back to her. His shoulders were rigid, but she heard him take a shuddering breath. "Again," he said, voice rough. "From the beginning. Lucian, again." They worked for 6 hours that day. Lucian critiqued every phrase, every breath, every subtle variation in dynamics. He was demanding, precise, occasionally cruel in his honesty. But he also knew music, really knew it, the way only someone who'd lived with a composer could. "You're rushing the third phrase," he said during their 5th run-through. Isabella marked it molto espressivo. "You're treating it like an exercise." "I'm tired," Naomi snapped. "We've been at this for hours." "Then find the energy. Great musicians don't stop when they're tired." "Great musicians also don't get kidnapped and forced to perform." His eyes flashed. "You think this is force? I haven't touched you, haven't threatened you. I've given you everything except the one thing you take for granted." Freedom isn't something to take for granted. It's a basic human right. Rights are illusions. Power is real. He closed the distance between them, and Naomi's breath caught. He was close enough that she could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. "I have the power to keep you here. You have the power to make me let you go." "How?" "Play her music the way she would have played it. Make me feel what I felt when she was alive. Do that, and I'll give you anything you want." His intensity pinned her in place. This wasn't just obsession, it was desperation. Grief so profound it had twisted into something dangerous, something that might destroy them both. 1 month, Naomi heard herself say. Give me 1 month to learn this properly. No interruptions during practice. No watching me through cameras. Let me work. Lucian considered this. 1 month. But you'll perform for me twice a week. Show me your progress. Once a week. Twice. Take it or leave it. She should leave it. Should refuse to negotiate with her captor. But that empty place inside her had started to fill with music again, and God help her, she'd miss this, the challenge, the pursuit of perfection, the feeling of being truly alive. Fine, twice a week. His smile was sharp as broken glass. Good. We start again tomorrow morning. The days blurred into a strange routine. Naomi practiced for hours, losing herself in Isabella's music. It was unlike anything she'd played before, technically demanding but emotionally devastating, requiring her to dig into her own pain to find the right feeling. Lucian appeared at their appointed times, watching her perform with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable, but somehow wasn't. He was a demanding audience, praising her rarely and criticizing often, but his feedback made her better, pushed her to places she'd never gone before. You're playing notes, he said one evening during her second week, but you're not playing truth. What does that even mean? It means you're hiding. He stood, moved behind her. You play perfectly because perfect is safe. But Isabella's music isn't about safety. It's about loss, about loving something so much that losing it breaks you. When did you last let yourself feel something real, Naomi? When did you last care enough to risk being broken? His question landed like a blow. Naomi's hands stilled on the cello. I feel things, she said quietly. Do you? Or do you just go through the motions? Perform, applaud, move to the next city, perform again. When did music stop being a passion and start being a job? When I had to pay rent. But even as she said it, she knew it was a lie, or at least not the whole truth. Music had stopped being a passion when she'd realized that passion wasn't enough, that talent wasn't enough, that she could be brilliant and still feel empty, because excellence without connection was just noise. Play again, Lucian said, but this time don't think about the notes. Think about the last time someone you loved said goodbye, the last time you knew nothing would ever be the same. This is where everything changes. Don't stop now. Naomi closed her eyes. Let her mind drift back to her grandmother's funeral, the last time she'd been home to Lagos, the way her mother had collapsed against her, sobbing into her shoulder, the emptiness of the house that had always been full of life and cooking and laughter. She played. The music came out raw, imperfect, aching with real grief. Her intonation wavered in places. Her rhythm wasn't precise, but none of that mattered because the feeling was there, real and terrible and true. When she finished, tears streamed down her face. Lucian knelt beside her chair, and for the first time since she'd arrived, his expression was soft. There, he whispered. That's what I needed to hear. That's what she sounded like. I can't play like that every time, Naomi said, voice cracking. It hurts too much. I know, but now you understand what I'm asking for. Not perfection, truth. His hand came up, hesitated, then gently wiped a tear from her cheek. The touch sent electricity through her, not just desire, though that was there too, but recognition. He was broken in the same way she was, hollow in the same places, using music to fill the void because nothing else would. Why did you really bring me here? She asked. Is it really about the music? Yes. He stood, put distance between them again. And no, I told myself it was about Isabella, about honoring her memory. But maybe, his jaw worked, maybe I just needed to feel something again, and your music made me feel. Even before tonight, watching you play, there was something alive, Naomi finished. Something alive in it. Yes. They looked at each other across the dimming room, the last rays of sunset painting everything gold. Naomi should hate him, should be planning escape, should be fighting every moment. But instead, she understood him, saw in him the same desperate need for connection that had been eating her alive for months. It should have been terrifying. Instead, it felt like coming home. "Tomorrow," she said, "I want to walk outside. The grounds, at least. I can't spend another day trapped in this house." Lucian nodded. "Tomorrow, I'll take you myself." True to his word, Lucian met her after breakfast. No guards, no handlers, just him in casual clothes that somehow made him look more dangerous than his suits ever had. They walked through manicured gardens and down a path that wound through olive groves, the morning air sharp and clean. "Tell me about her," Naomi said. "Isabella. Not the composer, the person." Lucian was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, she was chaos. Brilliant, beautiful chaos. She'd wake up at 3 in the morning with a melody in her head and play it on anything she could find. Piano, violin, once on wine glasses filled with different amounts of water. Despite everything, Naomi smiled. "You loved her." "I worshipped her. She was light and I was—" He gestured vaguely at himself. "What I am. My family business, the things I've done. She knew all of it and loved me anyway. She said everyone had darkness, but I'd learned to use mine to protect what mattered." "Did you? Protect her?" "No." The word came out flat, heavy with guilt. "Cancer doesn't care about power or money or how many men you have on your payroll. I couldn't fight it, couldn't fix it. All I could do was watch her fade." They'd reached a viewpoint overlooking the valley. The villa was small behind them now, and for a moment Naomi could almost pretend she was free. "Is that why you kept the other cellists here?" she asked. "Because you can't let her go?" "I don't keep them. They stay for a few weeks, play the sonata, and leave. You're the first one who—" He turned to look at her. "The first one who plays like she matters, like the music matters." "It does matter." Naomi's throat tightened. "Music is the only thing I've ever been good at. The only time I feel like I'm supposed to be alive. Not the only time." His voice had dropped, gotten rougher. Naomi's pulse kicked up. "Lucian." "I know, this is impossible. You're my prisoner. I'm your captor. Any feeling between us is just Stockholm Syndrome and loneliness and grief." He moved closer. "But I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since that first night. The way you played, the way you fought me, the way you cry when the music gets too real. You're not like anyone I've ever known." "That's the isolation talking. That's— Is it?" His hand came up, cupped her face. "Tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me when we're in that room together, it's just about the music. Tell me I'm imagining the way you look at me." Naomi couldn't, because he wasn't imagining it. Somewhere between the performances and the arguments and the rare moments of understanding something had shifted. He'd stopped being just her captor and become something else. Someone who understood her in a way no one else ever had. "This is wrong," she whispered. "I know. You kidnapped me. I know. If I kiss you, it's not because I forgive you. It's not because this is okay. I know." His thumb brushed her lower lip. "But do it anyway." She did. The kiss was not tender. It was desperate and angry and hungry, all the tension of the past weeks exploding between them. Lucian's hands tangled in her hair, pulled her closer, and Naomi went willingly, hating herself for wanting this but unable to stop. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Lucian rested his forehead against hers. "The door to your room," he said. "It hasn't been locked for a week. You could have left any time." Naomi's breath caught. "What?" "I wanted to see if you'd stay, if the music would be enough to keep you." His gray eyes searched hers. Or if maybe it wasn't just the music. She should be furious, should slap him and run, find her way down the mountain, call the police. But instead she laughed, bitter and broken. "You bastard, you manipulative bastard. Yes, no apology in it, no regret. I could leave right now. You could. I should leave right now. Probably. But I won't. No. His smile was sad. Because you need this as much as I do. Someone who understands the emptiness. Someone who sees the darkness and doesn't look away. He was right. God help her, he was right. The thought of going back to her old life, the performances, the hotels, the hollow applause, made her want to scream. Here, trapped in this beautiful prison with this dangerous man, she felt more alive than she had in years. 1 month, she said. We agreed on 1 month. Let me finish learning the sonata. Let me perform it the way it deserves. Then we'll figure out what this is. Lucian nodded slowly. 1 month. But Naomi, after that, even if you choose to stay, I won't keep you. The choice has to be yours. Why? Because I'm a monster in a lot of ways, but I won't become the man who keeps you in a cage. Isabella would never forgive me. They walked back to the villa in silence, hands not quite touching but close enough to feel the pull. Naomi's mind raced. What was she doing? What was she becoming? But underneath the confusion was a strange sense of rightness, like a dissonant chord finally resolving. The final 3 weeks passed in a blur of music and tension. Naomi practiced obsessively, diving deeper into Isabella's sonata until she could play it in her sleep. The piece revealed itself in layers, not just a goodbye, but a love letter, a forgiveness, a blessing for the one left behind. She wasn't just composing music, Naomi said one evening. She was giving you permission to live after she was gone. Lucian's jaw clenched. I don't want permission. I want her back. She's not coming back. But maybe... Naomi set down her bow. Maybe that's okay. Maybe letting her go doesn't mean forgetting her. You sound like a therapist. I sound like someone who's figured out that running from grief doesn't work. It just follows you, finds you in hotel rooms in strange cities, waits for you between performances. She met his eyes. I came to Rome empty. You trapped me here, and somehow you gave me back the part of myself I thought I'd lost. Naomi, I'm not done. Tomorrow night, I'll play the complete sonata, all 3 movements the way Isabella intended, and after that, I'm going to walk out of here. Not because you're letting me go, because I'm choosing to, but I'm also choosing to come back. Lucian stared at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. What? I said I'm coming back, not as your prisoner, as your... She hesitated. I don't know what this is between us, but I want to find out. Without the locked doors and the power games. Just see what happens when we're both free to choose. You're serious? Completely. She stood, moved to where he sat. You showed me that music could mean something again. Let me show you that life can mean something too. Real life. Not this grief-soaked memorial you've built. His hands came up, gripped her hips. If you leave and don't come back, I'll come back. But Lucian, you have to let me go first. Really let me go, not just unlock doors. No tracking, no guards following me. Trust. I don't know how to do that anymore. Learn. She leaned down, kissed him softly. We'll both learn. The night of the performance, the music room was transformed. Candles everywhere, flowers on every surface, white roses, Isabella's favorites. Lucian had dressed in a black suit, looking every inch the Roman prince he was. Naomi wore midnight blue, her cello between her knees, her heart in her throat. This is for her, she said, but it's also for us, for everyone who's ever had to say goodbye. And she played. The music poured out of her, 3 movements of devastating beauty. The first, full of love and light and life. The second, the slow descent into darkness, the fight against the inevitable. The third, the acceptance, the peace, the blessing. Naomi's eyes streamed tears, but she didn't stop, didn't falter. She played with every ounce of truth she'd learned, every piece of herself she'd reclaimed. And when the final note faded, when the silence rushed back in, She looked up to see Lucian on his knees, face buried in his hands, shoulders shaking. She set down her cello and went to him, knelt beside him. Let him break. "Thank you," he whispered against her shoulder. "Thank you for giving her back to me, for letting me say goodbye." They stayed like that until the candles burned low, and when Naomi finally stood, gathered her things, prepared to leave, Lucian didn't try to stop her. "Go," he said. "But if you meant what you said, I'll be here, waiting." Naomi left the villa as dawn broke over the mountains. She took a car to Rome, a flight to London, returned to her flat that felt wrong and small and dead. But she didn't unpack. 3 days later, she called Lucian. "I'm coming back," she said. "Not to the villa, to Rome, get an apartment, start over, and maybe we could try this. Actually try without the games." His exhale was shaky. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not, but you helped me find myself again. That's worth something." She smiled, even though he couldn't see it. "Besides, someone needs to make sure you actually live instead of just existing in that mausoleum you call home." "When?" "Next week. I have to finish some commitments here, cancel some performances, figure out what I'm doing with my life." "Naomi, I'm scared, Lucian. This is insane and unhealthy and probably a terrible idea." "I know, but I'm doing it anyway, because for the first time in years, I want to, and that has to mean something. It means everything." She ended the call and looked around her flat, at the life she'd built that had left her hollow. Then she started packing, not everything, just what mattered: her cello, some clothes, the sheet music Isabella had written, now hers to keep. Outside her window, London hummed with life, and soon Rome would too, with her in it, choosing her own future, chasing her own truth. The music wasn't over, it was just beginning. If this story kept you hooked until the end, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment telling us what you thought about Lucian and Naomi's journey, and subscribe for more romantic tales that will make your heart race. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the best love stories start with the most unexpected complications.